Secret number 1. What is your why? Okay, my entire life, I really wanted to have a gun. I just thought it was super cool. I wanted it, right? Now, when I was getting ready to turn 21, I realized that I may have a problem because my wife, she really did not like the idea of me having guns in the house with our children. The major mistake that I made is that I married a Canadian. Now, one Sunday morning, I'm sitting in the back of my church, and all of a sudden a dude walked in wearing a leather trench coat in the middle of July. Now, I shouldn't have to tell you that wearing a leather trench coat in Florida when it's like 90 to 100 degrees, even first thing in the morning, is definitely not normal. Now, I'm watching this guy as he's walking down the row, and he's like jiggling doorknobs. He's peeking inside of offices that were open and unlocked, and it was just weird, right? I'm sitting there thinking, what is this guy doing? Then he walks up to a door that was clearly labeled "Alarms Will Sound." What do you think this guy did? He opened it. Alarms are blaring, and hundreds of people took off running, and some people just dove underneath the chairs hiding. Now, everybody in the building was a little bit on edge, kind of hypersensitive, I would say, because a week prior to this, a guy walked into a church service in Georgia, walks right up to the pastor, pulls out a gun, and shot this guy right in the chest, killing him instantly. Now, when a high-profile shooting like this happens, what's on TV that entire week? It's that. So that's all we saw, and now it seems like it's happening to us. So I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden I get slapped on the shoulder by one of the staff members named Mary. Mary said, "Ryan, we think that guy is potentially an active shooter. I need you to run to the children's building, tell them what's happening, and you need to secure the building." Now, this is a pretty large church here in Brandon. So I ran over to the children's area. I started locking doors. I was grabbing people, and I was like, dude, you got to stand here. You got to guard this door. I was really afraid that the bad guy would like knock, and a kid or a staff member would just open the door, right, to be polite, but we couldn't let him in the building. Me and a couple guys decided to guard the main entrance, which is an entire wall made of glass. So I'm standing there thinking to myself, what the hell are we gonna do? If this guy has a gun, right, what's gonna happen if he shoots through the glass? What if he breaks the glass? How am I gonna stop him and protect all these people? So I started digging through some boxes, looking for a weapon. Now, have any of you ever looked for a weapon at a church? Yeah, I didn't think so. So weapons are typically not easy to find at a church. The only weapon I could find was a Bic pen. So I remember standing there thinking to myself, this is it, Ryan. This is it. This is it! It's up to you, man, to stop this guy with this pen. And maybe if he walks in and just go, "Wah!" John Wick can do it with a pencil. You know, that's when I realized that I had really screwed up in my life. Now, eventually, they ended up arresting this guy. Turns out that he did have a gun, and he admitted to the police that he was there to rob the church's offering. Now, somebody who's willing to bring a gun to a robbery at a church, is that type of person willing to use that gun? I think so, right? I mean, he consciously sat at home and decided to bring a gun to a robbery of a church. You know, during that moment, as I was standing there holding my stupid Bic pen, I realized that my 8-month-old daughter was in this building, that my wife was in this building, and these are the two people that I'm supposed to protect, and all I had was a pen. I also realized that if either one of them got hurt or killed that day, it was going to be my fault for being unprepared. So that day, we left the church, I drove to a gun store, and I bought my very first Glock 19. Shortly after that, I got my carry permit because I knew one thing. Violent attacks happen lightning fast, and it was up to me to keep myself and my family safe from evil. Now, my question to you is, what's your why? Why do you want to purchase a firearm, or why did you buy a firearm? Why do you want to get your concealed carry permit? Now, some people have a very strong why, a strong desire. Recently, a young woman came to one of my courses, and I could tell that something was wrong as soon as she walked in. So she had some bruises and some cuts and stuff. And as we were talking, she began to kind of tear up and cry, and she was very open, and she told the group that she had recently been the victim of rape. She also went on to say that she has signed up for some Krav Maga self-defense courses. She is taking some shooting classes with me, and now she's getting her Florida concealed carry permit. Now, I could tell by listening to this woman that she had made the mental decision that this was never going to happen again. She has a very strong why, and this why is pushing her. It's pushing her to train and to develop these skills so that she can protect herself from evil people. On the other hand, I meet people every single day who have a very weak why. These are the people that tell me they're only getting a concealed carry permit in case they need to carry a gun that day. They act as if they're going to get a text message on their phone, that says, "Warning, you're going to be attacked today. Bring your gun." These are the same people that tell me I need a gun to protect my family, but I'm only going to leave that gun at home, or I'm only going to leave the gun in the car. So what you're really saying is you're really only planning on being able to protect your family while you're at home or while you're in your car. But bad things don't just happen when and where we want them to happen. They happen randomly, and they happen very, very quickly. And unfortunately, you really only have two options during a violent attack. You're either going to be ready and you're going to emerge a victor, or you're going to be a victim. And the choice is yours at which one you want to become. In April of 2018, I was walking with my two sons, Jackson, age 4, and Lincoln, age 6, when a man attempted to stab me with a piece of metal. It was 7:30 in the morning. I was the head of the security team at my church, and we were walking around the building, just doing a perimeter check, making sure doors were locked, and making sure everything was safe before the rest of the church showed up. Now, most people wouldn't expect something bad or violent to happen at a church, but bad, evil people exist everywhere. Now, I saw the weapon in this guy's hand, and as he rose it up, I knew what I had to do. I immediately grabbed my gun, and I said, "Drop it or you're gonna die." There was an expletive in there, but this is a church story. Now, the guy immediately dropped his weapon, and he took off running. Thankfully, the police were able to apprehend him a short time after that, and the man went to jail. Now, what do you think would have happened if I wouldn't have had my gun that day? I think the guy would have stabbed me. And what would he have done to my boys after that? Honestly, there's no telling. Now, inside the paper copy of the book you received, I actually have some questions that I want you to take the time to fill out so that you can look back on this later on, right? I want you to write down, what is your why? Why is this important to you? That why, it's got to be strong. It's got to be something that motivates you to train and to really learn and develop these skills.